Things are beginning to change very, very rapidly now across the financial landscape of the world, and there are some now saying that we may only have 90 days left. I'm sure a lot of you are aware of what happened with SVB, what happened with UBS buying out Credit Suisse, that they're keeping this hidden. They're trying to keep a secret away from you, and I have a question, and it's a very honest one. Could we see a future where the only option is cryptocurrency? Not that it's just the best option, but it's the only real one going forward. Now, I'm sure a lot of you are snickering because you said, well, Florida Maquis, a long time ago, you came out dead set against cryptocurrency and told people to get out of it. It was a Ponzi scheme. It was. I stand by that, but things change. Initially, and you can go back and look at this in 2018, 2019, I initially said, if this becomes a transactable currency, where you can easily go to the grocery store, to the gas station, to wherever you need to buy whatever you need, and you can pull this out and just in a matter of maybe getting a card or using your phone, buy what you need, pay your rent with it. Absolutely. Absolutely. But that's not what it was at the time. And that also isn't the reason it skyrocketed in value and then precipitously collapsed. Now, we're going to get into this today. What's changed? Those things have happened in limited fashion in different parts of this country. But if it gets adopted and adopted on a large scale, we could see the end of the US dollar. But of course, as always, speaking of the $1, the $1 US per month, that is the lowest allowable level over Patreon. Would love to have your support. These platforms are becoming very, very difficult to negotiate, whether it's me or the Patriot Nurse or Lisa Haven, Justice Knight, Restrict Republic, BP Earthwa, ask any of them. Southern Prepper One, ask any of them. We're trying to build arcs for ourselves over at places like Patreon. And that's why I've charged only $1 US per month. It might be the only place to go very, very shortly. And they do accept cryptocurrency over there. It's even less if you sign up for an entire year, fully refundable. I could very much use your support these days. It would make a huge difference in my life. Thank you very, very much for those of you who have already stepped up. Now, the first question a lot of people have about cryptocurrency, Florida Maquis, it's the obvious one. It's the obvious one. What happens if the power goes out and you can't charge up your phone and all of your money is tied up into a crypto wallet on your phone? Well, to be very truthful, if the power goes out on a national or global scale, nobody's going to be transacting in dollars either, digital or otherwise, because think of that for 1 minute. No, there's going to be no grocery stores operating, no gas stations operating. You're not going to be able to pay your rent or your utilities. They're not going to, well, you won't have utilities because there won't be power. Because nobody's going to be able to go to the bank. There will be no transacting of any currencies. So it's an equal death of all currencies. And if you have actual physical cash in your hand, you would be incredibly silly and short-sighted to sell any real goods that you have for paper money that may or may not be useful. You don't know. The power is going to come back on next week, next month, next year. You could be saying, well, yeah, I paid 83 cents a can for these cans of beans, and now people are paying me $5. But yeah, you might end up with a house full of money and nothing to eat. And then when you realize your mistake, they might charge you $9.50 for those beans 3 weeks or a month from now. So that argument actually kind of falls apart in this particular scenario. Now, what happened with the big run-up and then collapse was speculators. It wasn't mass-wide adoption of Bitcoin or blockchain. Well, now, it's not going to be a matter of people wanting to. It might be a matter of people needing to. And what makes me say this? What makes me kind of make a little bit of a turn here? There's this guy who said he's betting $1 million in 90 days. Dollar destroyed, a huge crypto price prediction bet fueled by bank crisis and hyperinflation. Now, hyperinflation is where you have too many people with too much money chasing too few goods, meaning there's a shortage of real goods, meaning the remaining real goods are versus the currency are worth a lot more. But let's read what's actually said here. Bitcoin, Ethereum, other major cryptocurrencies have surged this week amidst a banking crisis that could be about to cause a massive Federal Reserve earthquake. The Bitcoin price has topped $27,000 per Bitcoin, up over 30% since this time last week, hitting a level it hasn't seen since June of last year. The Bitcoin boom has also sent the Ethereum price and other major cryptocurrencies sharply higher. Now, after JP Morgan analysts said the Fed's new bank backstop program could inject up to $2 trillion into the financial system, technology investor and former Coinbase chief tech officer Balaji Srinivasan has warned the latest banking crisis could spark hyperinflation in the United States and advised people to, and here's the key, you say stuff like this, and I'm talking to the crypto people out there now, and I'm not making fun of you guys. I'm just saying a lot of Americans don't get what this means. Buy Bitcoin now and get your coins off exchanges. See, they don't understand the concept of an off-exchange wallet versus having their money on an exchange. It's all on their phone one way or the other. It's all an app, whether it's Coinbase or it's Binance or whatever it is. They don't understand how they're going to be able to transact in their daily lives with Bitcoin versus dollars, especially since even today, Bitcoin values itself in dollars, just like was said up here. And like I said, in this video, I'm not making fun of you guys. Bitcoin is valuing itself as 27,000 US dollars. Well, think back to when the American Revolution and we separated ourselves from England. How long did we valuate our currency in the British sterling or the British pound? You see, this is kind of the key. It has to become its own thing. He's talking about cryptocurrency, or pardon me, hyperinflation happening very, very fast. He bet $1 million that anyone who wants to take the bet, that the Bitcoin price will go from 27,000 to 1 million in the next 90 days, meaning a 3,600% Bitcoin price increase by June 16. Why will it be so fast? Hyperinflation happens fast. Digital pandemics, digital riots, and digital bank runs. Everything will happen very, very fast, is what he's saying. The Federal Reserve has lied about how much money there is in the banks, and all dollar holders get destroyed. And so this is the details of his bet. I'll give the link to this. And the central bankers and the banks and regulators have bankrupted all of us. Who's been credited with calling the seriousness of the C-19, you know what, before the healthcare, you know what. Quote, they hid their insolvency from you, the depositors, and they're about to print $2 trillion to hyperinflate the dollar. In the digital age of this will happen quickly, so buy Bitcoin now and get your coins off exchanges. So this is what the warning is going to be right now, and this is what people are warning of. So I'm going to ask the Bitcoin, the cryptocurrency people down there, please go down in the comments and explain and use regular language how somebody could say, okay, well, I've got $5,000 in the bank right now and I have bills to pay. I need to go to the grocery store in a couple of days. How could I possibly take my money, convert it into Bitcoin, and then still go do and transact those things? Now, I know what one answer is. They have these kiosks where you can go and take your phone and you scan it, and then you can either get a little card that has X amount of dollars on it. You take your Bitcoin, the amount of Bitcoin you have, and say, I want a $600 cash card. And then you take that little debit card, and then you take that debit card and you go buy your groceries with it. And you go pull some actual physical cash out of the bank, maybe $100 walking around money. And then maybe you go get a haircut. And then, you pay your hairdresser lady. Sorry, had a mind stop there for a minute. To, so much money, based on that debit card. And these kiosks at Coinstar and other places like that, they are fairly prevalent, but on the scale that would need to be accepted, you would need a lot of places that where the lines at these kiosks would go around the block if this were the only option. You know, and the same thing at the gas station. I think it'd be probably a little bit more seamless here. It would just be a matter of reprogramming the pumps, where you could just take your phone, scan whatever, and then it could just take it off and do its own conversion from dollars to Bitcoin. Now, here's the other big one. What about housing? Some people are saying, well, how are you going to write a check for whether it's for rent or whether it's for a house payment to whomever without being able to transact in dollars? There's going to be some type of seamless way that you can take Bitcoins, turn them into dollars and back again. Oh, wait, I got too much. Oh, wait, I didn't get enough. I need to have so many Bitcoins and then convert it back to so many dollars. And then you're going to have to, the Bitcoin folks, the crypto folks, are going to have to be able to communicate in a simple way to people how they can easily do this. And I think this is where a lot of crypto places have really dropped the ball, because for the technologically savvy, it doesn't seem like it's that big of a deal. But especially in North America, we have an aging population of people. Now, I come from kind of the 80s, the very infancy of the computer generation. So, you know, this isn't beyond me, but somebody older than me, 60s, 70s, 80s, they might not get this. And there's also another issue too about paying people directly, whether it's at a garage sale, you know, or just for services. I've got this kid down the street, he mows my lawn. How am I going to do this with them? And to be very truthful, if you could literally have painted a picture of what money laundering is, this is how you do it. You take ill-gotten gain and then you convert it digitally into something, and then you take that digital something and you convert it into something else. So I'm not trying to, in this case, either encourage or discourage, but there's some warning signs out there now about the dollar being worthless. And if you're holding dollars as opposed to Bitcoins, you could get hammered. And I still think the way, and I'm going to say it again, I'll stand by what I said before. I'm not denying what I said before. The only reason it increased in value the way that it did in 19 and 20 was because of speculators that were investing in it. It wasn't a mass worldwide adoption of cryptocurrency and an ease of transactability for the normal person that caused the increase in the value. And then the speculators got out of it and it collapsed and people lost their you-know-what. And here's another question I have. When you cash out crypto for dollars or any other government-issued currency, this creates a capital gain or loss. Now, given how volatile cryptocurrency is, virtually every transaction could be a taxable event. Nicole buys Bitcoin for $1,000. Okay, depending on the volatility of cryptocurrency, that $1,000 could increase to $1,500 in a week, or 2 weeks, or a month, to $1,500. When Nicole then takes her Bitcoin and then tries to reconvert it, she's got a taxable event now. Sells her Bitcoin, she has a $500 capital gain tax, which is taxable. Which brings up an entirely different argument. If I buy a loaf of bread today and it's for $10, and then because of the volatility of the dollar, tomorrow it's worth 12, tomorrow it's worth, the next day it's worth 15, the next day it's worth 30. And then I've eaten a third of my loaf of bread and I have 2/3 left, and I'll say I want to sell a third now and get my $10 back. Do I have to pay some type of a tax penalty because of the capital gain? Because if it goes from 10 to 30 and I've eaten a third of it, I've got 2/3 of it left. I could keep a third of it, sell the remaining third, and get all of my initial $10 back. Why isn't that taxable? Do I have to give somebody a little piece of bread? So anyway, this is starting to have a contagion effect all over Latin America too. Today in Venezuela, Tariq El-Aissami, a bigwig in the Venezuelan government, resigned because they're doing a giant corruption sweep. And we talked about him a long time ago too. His ties to Syria, his ties to Iran. But this is the beginning of the end of the bully dollar. Remittances drive uneven but swift crypto adoption in Latin America. And this is where US dollars are flooding down there and then just going away. So, like I said, crypto folks, I'll say it again. I stand by what I said about before when it went up in value and then went precipitously down. I was exactly correct about what was going to happen and about it being a Ponzi scheme. If you can explain or you can show, give links, do whatever. In fact, I'll even go in and for this video, I will allow links. I don't normally. To show, and the link can't be to your particular pet currency. The link needs to be to an instructive place where, and I'm going to be watching this, where people can learn how to, for example, buy their groceries. How can I take $1,000, let's say, and put it into cryptocurrency, and then if I need that money, I can very easily go right down to the grocery store with my phone or whatever, and I can quickly convert it back to whatever I need, dollars or whatever, and then do my grocery shopping with it, and then if I need to, convert that money back into crypto. If you can show people how to do that, I'll be on your side all day long. And if it goes up in value based on this type of adoption, absolutely. You can in any currency gain or lose money. And for a long time, there were a lot of folks, and you have to admit this, crypto people. There were a lot of people saying, there's absolutely no way to ever lose money in crypto. You had a lot of folks saying that. And that was never the case. Groceries, ease of transactability, gasoline, paying for housing, just the normal everyday stuff. How do you do this? Whether it doesn't even have to be Bitcoin. The Ethereum can be any of the others. That's what people want to know. If the dollar really is going away, how do I make this work for my life? That's the question. So I will leave it there. But once again, thank you, everybody who has showed up over at Patreon, who has stepped up. Those of you who have increased your pledges, God bless every one of you. I so much appreciate it. More than you know. It's making a giant difference in my life. God bless. Like, share, subscribe. We'll see you guys next time.